Okay, this week updates, we have a lot of updates and news. So this is the table of contents. You see a lot of points. Today is the first day of National Public Gardens Week. So if weather permits, let's go outside. Anyway, Llama 3 continued success, a lot of success stories. Llama 3 70 billion parameters has reached performance on par with top proprietary models, and it's on the top of Open Arena leaderboard, which we will see. I mean, of course, after GPT-4, but very close, and it's nearly matching Claude 3 Sonnet. Llama 3 8B is also up there, and it's really great for fast local applications. It's not as strong on complex prompts, and it's not as strong on domain knowledge, of course, because the model is small. But it's fast, it's pretty good, it's friendly, it's conversational outputs. So this is now definitely my go-to model for almost everything. Apple M4 chip. They introduced it, and as the previous one, M3, it is based on 3 nanometer technology. It's estimated to be about 30% better, and the main focus on AI. On Apple, you have MLX library. It's a framework to run AI, large language models. So you can do pip install MLX, pip install MLX LM. So there are GitHub repositories, lots of examples, everything runs fast. I probably should make a separate presentation just to demonstrate how it works. Huge community on Hugging Face. So M4 series of chips claim to be 30% more capable than M3. Apple M4 is the 4th generation of Apple Silicon chip. It is SoC, system on chip. So we have one chip which has CPU, GPU, memory, and neural agent all together. It is ARM based. ARM means Advanced Risk Machine, and RISC means Reduced Instruction Set Computer. So you're familiar with Intel CPUs, which are CISC, and RISC is a reduced set. And ARM is actually the name of the company, and they are in Britain, and this is the picture of their offices. And what they do, they have about 6,000 people. They don't produce chips, they design them, and then they sell those designs. Well, they not sell them, they license them out. The first M4 system on chip was included in iPad Pro, and it was just released, and it will be, I think, available on the 15th, so you can buy it if you want. But this is the most advanced iPad ever, right? So we will see. I haven't seen any benchmarks yet, but again, overall expectation, it will be about 30% better than the previous one. Okay, Microsoft. This is interesting. So Microsoft, oh, by the way, this is an old picture from 1974. They had 11 people back then. I think it was founded in 1978. Sorry, it was founded in 1974. Now they have more than 200,000 employees. So Microsoft is a big company, and they now creating a model called Microsoft AI number one, so MAI one, and it's rumored to have 500 billion parameters. It is expected to be on par with OpenAI GPT-4. And then there is a big question because OpenAI was financed by Microsoft and Microsoft was using their model, but now they're creating a competitive model. So how this will impact the relationship between two companies. AI-enabled web search. So if you run, let's say, a Google Gemini model via API, it will only know the facts which were in the training data, which was many months ago, right? But if you're using Google Gemini Advanced in the browser, you're paying $20 a month, then suddenly this system knows everything which just happened. It can tell you about Super Bowl, which was yesterday or whatever. So it is a combination of search engine, Google search, and large language model to provide you summaries of the data. There is also Google search generative experience. You probably notice this when you search something on Google, it often gives you on top gives you a summary. And so this is pretty common functionality. Also creates a lot of legal issues because people complain about copywriting and that people just read the summary and don't go down to click on the links, and businesses suffer because traffic being reduced and so on. Anyway, Microsoft, there is a Microsoft Copilot, and by the way, you have to there is a difference between Copilot and Copilot for Microsoft 365. So Copilot is a new name for Bing Chat and Bing Chat Enterprise. So you can go to copilot.microsoft.com or to bing.com/chat. So let's go in one of them. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And here, and you see, ask me anything. So this is a chatbot, right? And if you go to, let's say, Bing, basically the same thing, right? So it runs advanced version of GPT-4, which is codenamed Prometheus. Let me make it red. So it combines LLM and web search. So it is similar to what Google Gemini is. It's available through Copilot, Bing, Edge, Microsoft Start, and Microsoft 365 mobile apps. No, this is actually a little bit different because Microsoft 365. I'm not sure about this, but regularly when you have Microsoft 365, which is Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on, and you have Copilot there, it has access to your application's data. So you can, for example, select a piece of text on the page and ask it to rewrite it or whatever. But I think it's more limited than this Microsoft Copilot. So eligible users who sign into Copilot with Entra ID get commercial data protection. Okay, anyway. So OpenAI is planning to add search to its chatbots. They already registered search.openai.com, although it's still not working. So let's say, yeah, it's not working yet, but it's supposed to be released this coming Monday. So we will see. Maybe there are also some people say that it will be delayed. OpenAI, as you know, have a lot of users, millions and millions of users, and by doing this, they will add Microsoft Search to these millions of users. Twitter, yet another development. Twitter they have their own AI model, and they have social media, a lot of information, and they have search there, and they want to combine it and provide summaries of this social media tweets and so on. So this will be very interesting. So when you will search something on Twitter, you will also get a summary. This is interesting graph. It shows market share of different searches, and you see that Google absolutely dominates the world. And then we have Bing at like 3%, Yandex, this is from Russia, Yahoo, Baidu, DuckDuckGo, and this is like less than percent. That's where Perplexity fits in. Perplexity.ai, it's a startup, and their core business is to do AI-enabled search. And I use them, and at some point I really, really like them, but then I found that they're not as good as Google, for example, and sometimes they just give you wrong answers or obsolete information. So I really don't trust Perplexity, although, well, ID is very good, and ID is very similar to what Google Gemini Advanced is providing. Next is DeepSeek version 2. So DeepSeek.com, so it's a company from China, and they develop open source model, which is pretty big, 236 billion parameters. It's a mixture of experts model, so at any given time, only 21 billion is activated. It has good respectable context length, 128 kilotokens, and it's really good at math, code, and reasoning. I remember in the fall when there was a previous version and it was tested for coding, and back then it was the best for programming, for coding. So I haven't seen the good test of this new version, but according to comparisons with other models so far, it looks really, really good. This is the table, so you see DeepSeek version 2 compared to GPT-4 different versions, and Claude and Llama, and on different benchmarks. So it's very good. It's very respectable positioning. Okay, large language models are better at generalizing the knowledge. So what we've seen recently, that small models on the surface behave very well and score very well on tests. But what the authors of this paper have done, they created an alternative test. And what they found, that small models didn't behave very well. You see the accuracy drops about 13%. But large models like Gemini, GPT, Claude show minimal signs of overfitting. So what it tells me, that these large models, Sander, I'll mute you, sorry, and Dukwan, mute, Andy, mute, guys. These large models, they can generalize, and so they're still better than the small models. Okay, regulatory capture in AI industry in the US. Okay, this seems to be big problem now. So first of all, open source AI is not represented in the new governmental committee or board for artificial intelligence safety and security board. This board is absolutely dominated by CEOs of big companies. And what they do, they, for their own profits, of course, they actually fight against open source. There's a new blog post from OpenAI about AI security, and the whole theme is that we need to protect our weights of our models. We have to get the level of protection, like remember there was protection on DVDs and Blu-ray discs and so on, so you cannot make pirated copies. So they basically want to do the same thing. They want to protect large language models on hardware level of GPUs. So GPU, like this is I don't know, I don't believe this will happen, but it's definitely the direction where these big corporations want to go, because they want to make money, and they want to prohibit or some open source. Not prohibit, but they are fighting against it. Yeah, this is ugly, and I don't think it will happen also because there are other countries which, of course, will not be legislated like that, and so it just will not happen. But this is the text, and this is the video which goes through this blog. Now, there was a summit, all-in summit, and Bill Gurley, I actually spoke about him last week. He's an investor, very sharp guy, and he makes a presentation, and this is a summary of this presentation. So he explains what is regulatory capture. So it occurs when regulatory agencies became dominated by the very industries they're charged with regulating, right? And so it happens, and it gives some ugly examples where regulations were created and they actually had opposite effect. So he's very concerned, and he believes that we should increase transparency in the lobbying process and so on. But this is definitely an ugly situation right now, which happens with AI development. And this is another publication about it. So Andrew Ng, which was not invited to this board as well, who is very famous. And he spoke and wrote on all these events. So his concerns or opponents of open source are focusing on now on national security risks. He actually describes how it developed over the years. So at first, people were afraid of AI caused extinction, then bioweapon development, and now national security, whatever. Application-specific guardrails rather than blanket restriction on AI technology. That's what he says should happen, right? Protecting against misuse. Some companies are trying to limit open source AI, likely to protect their own proprietary investments. Definitely, that's what we see is happening. Countering misinformation. Authoritarian nations would develop AI regardless. Democratic nations influencing the technologies ensures they reflect commitment to values like human rights. There are some positive signals. Globally, there is still pressure for AI stiffing regulations, and continuing engagement with regulators is critical for fostering better understanding of AI. Anyway, this is a very good publication. And next, Joshua Bengio. Well, he's a legend from Montreal, Canada. Him and Geoffrey Hinton and Yann LeCun, like three main classical figures. And in this interview, he talks about what he fears about the future of AI. And he compares it with playing with fire. He advocates massive investments in AI safety research, calls for international treaties and regulations, need for collective democratic decision making, and so on. This is very good interview. You have two smart, intelligent people talking. This is just very pleasant. Again, highly recommend to listen. I have on my GitHub created a directory or repository called AI, and what I'm putting there is like how you start with AI on your own computer. So what kind of computer you need, how much memory, what you need to install, Python modules, libraries, or Llama, whatever, how you run the model, how you train the model, how you do a simple RAG system, how you do chatbots. So here I have a subdirectory, my chat, and this is the files in this directory. So there are 4 examples of how to do a chatbot using Chainlit Llama with a local model and Chainlit with OpenAI. And Chainlit is a module, it's a library. Flask is also another library how to make web applications. So Flask and OpenAI and Streamlit with OpenAI. Very simple, very small scripts. Like for example, this app Flask is like less than 1 page of code. I mean, they all are less than 1 page of code. And most of the files are images because I wanted them to look beautiful. Anyway, this is a good place to start. I'm very happy that I started it because now when people ask me, well, how do I start? I can just give them the link and they can start. Most profitable business ideas with AI. Well, there are a lot of requests. People want to start using AI. Most common AI assistants, custom GPTs, bots, and people actually will make you this for like $200. So you don't even have to press anything. You talk to somebody, you explain what you need. They go on OpenAI and click, 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 create a custom GPT for you, which will do the trick. AI bot for website, help visitors. Again, people will do it for you very cheaply. AI bot for Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and so on, about $300. Voice assistants, about $500. Automation of processes, automation of training, work with tabular data, creation of bots in Telegram, some same GPTs on one-page sites. So what sometimes people do, they create custom GPT, let's say on OpenAI, and put it on separate website and use it to provide some sort of service and maybe make some money. AI to create content and for example, content for TikTok. There are more links and more ideas. Point is, it's very common. There are infinite amount of opportunities, what kind of services, and you can copy what other people are doing, of course. Okay, Galileo Protect. This is interesting thing. So run Galileo.io. It's basically a firewall. It's a protection mechanism when you using some LLM and you have messages flying back and forth, you can pass them through this system and it will analyze. So you can create, well, they have a lot of default rules, but you can also create your own. So for example, you can say, well, if it contains the word address, then you do something. So this is simple if-else logic, but they can do really sophisticated stuff. Like, for example, they can identify hallucinations. And this, uncertainty, context adherence, correctness, sometimes in order to confirm that the response is not hallucination, they do some additional LLM calls or Google searches, whatever. It depends if like what performance you need and what accuracy you need. But this is a very interesting project. Okay, information overload. There are a lot of updates like we do every week, right? So if you're working with customers and imagine, I don't know, somebody who wants to do AI and the person is afraid of it because there are so many things and what to choose and how you position yourself with this person so that they will trust you and give you money and give you the project. Well, you need to position yourself as obvious expert. You need to establish authority, right? You need to clarify and simplify the choices for your potential customers, remove the stress, the overwhelm. Well, you need to educate them, but it's not possible to educate somebody in one lesson. So you need to create some sort of sequence, a step-by-step coaching, subscription, continuous training program. Each customer is different, so you need to work with them on their specific problem, customize the solution, and advise them on fastest route to right solution for them, and help people to act on the information and make real progress. And this makes you far more valuable in today's content saturated market. And this is again very interesting. So this video actually talks more about this problem. So this graph is from the video. They were selling courses, lessons, and they were doing pretty well. This peak is at COVID. And then in the next 2 years, it went really to zero. So people don't want to pay for information because there is so much information around and they just don't want to buy courses or whatever. So what to do? And their solution, which worked, was stop selling information, sell implementation and human-to-human interaction. Very interesting. So you can do consulting. That means you doing work for them. You can work together with them. You can do human-to-human training. You can create training groups, and people love to be part of the group. You can create community cohorts, and very important to make it convenient and pleasant. So this is, again, last week we spoke about returning to human when you're looking for a job in job search. Because of all this electronic spam, electronic submissions don't work, so you return to human. Same is here when you getting contracts, when you're getting customers, it's important to do human to human and maybe leverage multiple humans together, creating training groups and so on. Okay, miscellaneous things. OpenAI will use Stack Overflow API. Some people say this is the end of Stack Overflow because it basically will be consumed by OpenAI. But anyway, this is happening. Warren Buffett spoke about AI. You know, he's a famous investor, and he compares dangers of AI with nuclear weapons. He warns about AI scamming. He calls it the next big growth industry. Elon Musk planned to enhance X.ai Grok to merge with social. Oh, yeah, I already spoke about it earlier. Okay, to provide updates and citations in real time. Grok will generate new summaries from user discussions on X, focusing on engagement and accuracy. GPT-2 chatbot is back online and then it disappeared again because I wanted to see it and play with it and again it disappeared. Anyway, ScrapeGraphAI. This is very valuable. It's a web scraping Python library that uses LLM and direct graph logic to create scraping pipelines for websites, documents, and XML files. So from Python, it's pip install this module, and yeah, this I guess the tool we should be using. DocRes, document image restoration. Again, open source project on GitHub. Uh, Very interesting. AlphaFold 3. Oh, people talk about it so much. So this is a new version by Google DeepMind and Isomorphic Labs. It predicts the structure and interactions of the molecules. It does it much better than the previous version, so good. OpenAI public model specification. They released their specification and they ask people to participate, to fill in the form and select what's important for them, like objectives and behaviors. So this is open specification. I mean, they open their specification to collect from users. Okay, deep learning AI, building agentic RAG with Llama index. Deep learning AI, this means Andrew Ng, and this is a new course on this website. It is free and highly recommend. Mistral AI, last June they started with they raised $100 million when they had nothing, like no people, no company, and now they already evaluated at $6 billion. They just received $600 million, so yet another injection of money. And this is, by the way, they grew in the evaluation 3 times since December. Okay, Alibaba Qwen 2.5. The previous version was 2.0. The new version is better at reasoning and code comprehension, textual understanding. Gemma. Gemma, as you know, is an open source model from Google. It's very small, not particularly good, but small and open source. And this is a variation of this model with 10 million token context window. And because it's small, it requires a small amount of memory. So I can probably, well, I haven't tried it, but I can definitely, with this amount of memory, I can just run it on my Mac. Okay, and these are some links. 5.3 Web GPU. AI chatbot which runs 100% locally inside the browser. This is really achievement, right? So you have a model, large language model, well, small language model, which runs inside the browser. Okay, Guardian. Okay, this is again interesting. Microsoft developed this model, called it Guardian. It's actually GPT-4 based model, and it's developed for CIA and other intelligence agencies. It is sitting isolated from external world. It operates completely offline for secrecy. Okay, IBM. I haven't heard from IBM a lot, but now they created a whole family of models called the Granite Code. They're open source and they're specializing on coding tasks, outperforming Llama 3. So there's a lot of links to the article, Hugging Face, GitHub, research, probably very good thing, IBM, Granite. CMU researchers, this is Carnegie Mellon University researchers, find massive prompts can outperform fine-tuning for LLMs. So what does it mean? When you ask LLM a question and it answers, maybe it will not answer correctly, and if you fine-tune it, if you teach it something, then it will answer correctly. But what you can also do, you can use something called ICL, which is in-context learning. You, in the prompt, you provide information, you provide examples how to answer the questions like that. And then you ask the question, and then it will answer correctly. So what's interesting that instead of fine-tuning, which is expensive, you can just do the in-context learning, which is providing longer prompts, and you will get a better model and better accuracy. And you can, well, effectively fine-tune it for your use case. But without actually spending money on fine-tuning. So this is, I think, an interesting way of thinking. Okay, Ilya Zutskever gave John Carmack a reading list of approximately 30 research papers. And if you go to this link on Twitter, so these are the papers, and what he have done for each of those papers, or most of them, he created a map of what this paper is describing. So this is interesting. So said if you really learn all these, you will know 90% of what matters today. So this is a good thing. So if you go here, let me go on Twitter just to show you. And this is the list, and these are individual maps. So there's a lot of those maps. Okay, so you can consume the knowledge very quickly this way. Okay, crowdsourced arena leaderboard. So this is for English only queries. And here we have GPT-4 on the first place with 1246, 1235, Gemini Pro from Google 1233, and then we have Llama 370B 1230. So it's very, very close, plus minus 4, plus minus 4. And then we have other models. So this is Llama 3 8B, also very respectfully high, right? But this is a very, very small model. This is a tiny model, and it's open source, but it's pretty high. Now look at GPT 3.5 Turbo. It's way down. So a lot of progress happened. Anyway, this is layoffs as usual. So you see, this is the previous year. This is this year. Number of layoffs is much lower. Okay, this is me. Thank you.